Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Some of you are wasting your time trying to justify your journey to people who were never meant to walk it with you. You're sitting there explaining yourself, defending your choices, and breaking yourself down just to fit into a conversation that was never designed for your spirit. You don't owe everyone an explanation. Too often, people feel the need to justify their dreams, their choices, and their progress to those who were never meant to understand in the first place. You find yourself in conversations where people question your vision, doubt your abilities, and subtly, or not so subtly, try to shake your confidence. And what do? You defend yourself. You explain. You try to make them see your point of view, hoping that if you just say it the right way, they'll finally get it. But here's the truth. Some people are committed to misunderstanding you. No matter how clearly you explain yourself, they will twist your words. No matter how hard you try to prove your heart, they will question your motives. When you know your worth, you don't need to convince anyone else of it. A diamond does not announce its value, it simply is. The people who recognize its worth will honor it, and those who don't will walk past it, mistaking it for something common. That's not the diamond's problem, and it's not yours either. If you spend your time trying to explain yourself to every skeptic, every naysayer, every person who doubts your potential, you'll waste the very energy you need to build your future. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It is not something that changes based on whether or not people acknowledge it. It is not dependent on whether someone else believes in you. Because let's be honest, some people will refuse to see your value simply because recognizing it would force them to confront their own limitations. It would mean admitting that they too could have pursued something greater but chose not to. It would mean accepting that their criticism of you is more about their own insecurities than your actual abilities. When you truly know who you are, you stop looking for approval in places where it was never meant to be found. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds. You stop watering dead plants, hoping they'll bloom. Instead, you focus on the people, places, and opportunities that align with your purpose. You surround yourself with those who uplift, encourage, and challenge you to be better. And most importantly, you trust yourself. Because at the end of the day, explanations don't build empires. Defending yourself doesn't move you forward. Action does. Consistency does. Discipline does. When you show up every day and put in the work, when you stay committed to your purpose, when you refuse to let doubt slow you down, your results will do all the explaining necessary. Stop trying to convince people who have no intention of understanding you. Stop justifying your greatness to those who don't want to see it. Your worth is not a debate. You are here for a reason, and your purpose is bigger than their opinions. Walk in that truth and let the rest take care of itself. Not everyone who speaks to you is speaking from themselves. Sometimes what you're hearing is not just their opinion, but the spirit that's working through them. You have to be able to recognize when you're dealing with a person and when you're dealing with something deeper, something darker. This is why certain conversations leave you drained, why some interactions shake your confidence, and why no matter how much you try to explain yourself, it never seems to land right. It's because you're not just dealing with a misunderstanding, you're dealing with opposition at a spiritual level. Some people are used as vessels for negativity, for manipulation, for distraction. They may not even realize it themselves, but that doesn't make it any less real. You can see it in how they speak to you, how they plant doubt in your mind, how they subtly, or sometimes not so subtly, discourage you from growing, from taking risks, from believing in yourself. One minute you're excited about an opportunity, and the next, after talking to them, you're second-guessing everything. That's not just coincidence, that's influence. You have to be wise enough to discern when someone's words are coming from a place of genuine concern and when they're being used to break you down. Pay attention to patterns. If every time you share your dreams, someone finds a way to minimize them, that's not advice, that's an attack. If every time you feel confident, someone swoops in with a reality check, that's not wisdom, that's sabotage. And if every time you try to rise higher, someone finds a way to make you feel small, that's not just a person talking, that's something deeper trying to keep you from stepping into your purpose. You stop wasting time explaining yourself to the wrong people. You stop trying to defend your vision to those who were never meant to see it. You stop looking for understanding in places where understanding will never exist. And most importantly, you stop allowing their words to take root in your spirit. Because here's the truth, If you listen to the wrong voices long enough, they will start to sound like your own. Doubt doesn't come in screaming. It comes in whispers. It comes in repeated phrases that start to play in your mind until one day you mistake them for your own thoughts. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe they're right. Maybe I should just quit. That's how it works. That's how dreams are killed before they ever have a chance to breathe. But when you know what's really happening, you take control. You shut it down before it takes root. You remind yourself of who you are, of what you've been called to do, and you refuse to let anyone or anything talk you out of the destiny that is rightfully yours. Not everyone speaking to you is speaking for themselves. Be wise enough to know the difference and strong enough to walk away when you need to. Your energy is one of your most valuable assets, yet so many people waste it on the wrong battles, the wrong conversations, and the wrong company. Every time you engage with negativity, every time you entertain drama, every time you try to prove yourself to people who have no intention of understanding you, you are draining your energy. And here's the thing, energy is not unlimited. You have only so much of it in a day, and if you waste it in the wrong places, you won't have enough left for what actually matters. Some people thrive on getting a reaction out of you. They want to pull you into debates that go nowhere, into arguments that serve no purpose, into emotional battles that leave you exhausted while they walk away entertained. You think you're standing up for yourself, but what you're really doing is giving them exactly what they wanted, your attention, your time, and your energy. Not every situation deserves a response. Not every comment needs to be addressed. Not every challenge is worth your effort. Because the moment you start explaining yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you, you've already lost. You're fighting a battle that wasn't meant to be won. It was meant to distract. Look at how you feel after certain conversations. Do you walk away feeling empowered, motivated, clear-headed, or do you feel drained, frustrated, and uncertain? That feeling isn't random. It's an indicator of whether that exchange was feeding your energy or stealing it. You must learn to protect your energy the same way you would protect anything valuable. Because when your energy is low, your focus is weak. And when your focus is weak, your progress slows down. The people who are truly meant to be in your life will never require you to exhaust yourself just to be understood. They will see your heart, recognize your efforts, and respect your boundaries. But those who are sent to test you, to drain you, to throw you off course, they will always demand more explanations, more justifications, more of your time and attention. And no matter how much you give, it will never be enough, because their goal was never to understand, it was to distract. This is why learning to walk away is a skill. Ignoring negativity is not weakness, it's wisdom. Choosing where to invest your energy is not arrogance, it's survival. The most successful people in the world are not those who fight every battle, but those who choose their battles wisely. They understand that their energy is sacred and they refuse to waste it on people who are only there to take, not to give. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, to argue, to prove something, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this conversation moving me forward or is it holding me back? If the answer is the latter, walk away. Protect your energy, because where your energy goes, your life follows. When you live for approval, you will die by rejection. Too many people spend their lives chasing validation, waiting for permission to step into their purpose. They hesitate, second guess, and hold themselves back because they are too worried about what others might think. But the truth is, if you are constantly looking for approval, you will never move forward. Because no matter what you do, there will always be someone who disapproves. There will always be someone who questions your decisions, doubts your abilities, or downplays your success. And if you let that stop you, you'll never reach where you're supposed to go. You weren't created to fit in. You weren't designed to blend with the crowd. People who live for the approval of others end up living small, restricted lives. They move based on fear rather than faith. They make choices that keep them comfortable rather than choices that push them toward greatness. But those who walk in purpose, they don't explain themselves. They don't waste time justifying their every move to people who were never meant to understand. They move forward with or without applause. Think about the greatest visionaries, the most successful individuals. Do you think they stopped to explain their dreams to everyone who questioned them? Do you think they waited for people to believe in them before they took action? No, they believed in themselves first. They understood that their purpose was bigger than opinions. When you are focused on your vision, explanations become unnecessary. You don't have to prove yourself when you're too busy becoming who you were meant to be. Your results will speak louder than words. Your discipline, your consistency, your growth, those will be your answers. Not everyone will understand your journey, and that's okay. It wasn't meant for them. Some people will try to hold you back simply because your progress reminds them of their own stagnation. They will question your path, not because it's wrong, but because it's different. And that's why you have to be rooted in your own confidence. You have to know without a doubt that what you are doing is right for you. Because if you don't, the world will convince you otherwise. Stop looking for validation from those who have never walked your path. Stop explaining your choices to people who don't even have the courage to make their own. Stop waiting for permission to be great. If you have a vision, pursue it. If you have a purpose, step into it. The right people will see it, and the wrong ones will question it, but neither should determine your next move. Not approval. Because the moment you stop explaining yourself and start executing, that's when real transformation begins. Let your success be your voice. Let your work be your response. And let your results be the only explanation you ever need. People spend too much time trying to convince others of who they are instead of just being who they are. They waste energy explaining, justifying, and proving themselves to people who were never meant to see their vision. But here's the truth. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. Who you are, what you stand for, and what you're capable of should be demonstrated, not debated. You don't need to tell people you're disciplined. Your consistency will show it. You don't need to convince people that you're serious about your dreams. Your results will prove it. You don't need to argue with those who doubt you. Your success will silence them. The loudest response you can ever give to negativity, doubt, or opposition is achievement. The reason most people get stuck is because they spend more time trying to explain their potential than they do developing it. They get caught up in conversations that lead nowhere, defending their goals to people who will never support them. But real progress happens in silence. It happens when you show up every day, put in the work, and let your success speak for itself. Entrepreneurs, leaders, do you see them arguing with critics? No. They let their dedication, their work ethic, and their results do the talking. They don't waste time trying to change people's minds because they know the truth. Those who doubt you today will have no choice but to acknowledge you tomorrow. Too many people seek validation before they act. They want someone to believe in them before they believe in themselves. But that's not how greatness works. You don't wait for approval. You build something so undeniable that people have to take notice. And by then, their approval won't even matter. Success is the best response. Not revenge, not arguments, not explanations, just success. Let people question you now. Let them doubt you. Let them misunderstand you. None of that will matter when you're standing on the other side of achievement. What will matter is that you didn't let their opinions slow you down. And here's something important. You don't need a big audience clapping for you while you work. Most of the real progress happens when nobody is watching, when you're grinding in silence, when you're staying disciplined even when nobody is praising you, when you're putting in the work day after day without recognition. That's what builds success. So stop explaining, stop justifying, stop wasting time trying to convince people who have already decided not to see your worth. Focus on the work. Focus on getting better. Focus on becoming so good that no one can ignore you. Because at the end of the day, words fade, but results last. And when you let your success do the talking, there's nothing left to explain. There is power in silence, in letting your actions speak for you. Too many people waste time trying to prove themselves to the wrong audience, explaining, justifying, and defending their every move. But the truth is, real confidence doesn't need validation. Real strength doesn't require constant explanation. The most powerful statement you can make is through what you do, not what you say. Some people will never believe in you, no matter how well you explain yourself. Not because you're wrong, not because you're incapable, but because they are committed to misunderstanding you. They don't see your vision because it wasn't given to them. It was given to you. They won't support your growth because your progress reminds them of their own stagnation. And the more you try to make them understand, the more you're allowing yourself to be pulled into a conversation that was never meant for you. Explanations don't build legacies. Discipline does. While others are talking, debating, and questioning, you should be working. Because when the results show up, there is nothing left to explain. When success speaks, it silences everything else. The same people who doubted you, ignored you, or even criticized you will have no choice but to acknowledge what you've built, and by then, their opinion won't even matter. The ones who truly understand you won't need long explanations. They will see your actions, recognize your effort, and respect your journey. But those who constantly demand justification, they're not looking for clarity, they're looking for control. They want you to waste time proving yourself instead of improving yourself. And if you give in to that, you'll be stuck in a cycle of trying to earn approval that was never meant to be given. Think about the most successful people in the world. They didn't argue with doubters, they kept moving. They didn't beg for understanding, they created results that spoke for themselves. They let their work be the proof, and that's exactly what you have to do. Stop explaining, stop waiting for people to see your worth before you act on it. Stop seeking validation from those who can't even validate themselves. Instead, put your head down and focus on building something undeniable. Show up every day, stay disciplined, stay consistent, and let your results be the response to every question, every doubt, every bit of negativity sent your way. You don't need to tell people you're serious about your goals. Your effort will show it. You don't need to convince people of your potential. Your growth will prove it. And you don't need to argue with those who refuse to see your value. Your success will make it clear. At the end of the day, explanations fade, but results last. Let your work speak for itself. Let your actions be louder than any argument. Let your success be the only proof you ever need, because when you live this way, there is nothing left to explain. Your purpose is bigger than their opinions. Your destiny is not up for debates. You were not put here to explain, justify, or convince people of your worth. You were put here to become everything you were meant to be. And that will never happen if you keep stopping to argue with those who were never meant to understand you. The energy you waste trying to prove yourself to the wrong people is energy that could be used building, growing, and evolving. The people who doubt you today will either watch in silence or have no choice but to acknowledge your success tomorrow. But by then, their validation won't even matter, because you will have already proven everything through your results. So, stop explaining yourself to those who only seek to drain you. Stop looking for approval in places it was never meant to be found. Stop letting doubt and distraction pull you away from what truly matters. Instead, focus. Move with purpose. Protect your energy, and most importantly, let your success be the only explanation you ever give. Because when you commit to your vision, when you stay disciplined and keep showing up, when you refuse to let the opinions of others slow you down, there is nothing left to explain.